They told the world I'd abandoned them, that I left them homeless, starving, and alone. They posted pictures online, dusty corners of empty rooms, fake letters with my signature, sob stories that racked up tens of thousands of likes, shares, even donation money. What they didn't post was the truth, that I bought the house, that I paid every bill, that I trusted them, and they tried to steal it all. But they never expected the court papers. They never expected me. Let me take you back, because it didn't start with betrayal. It started with love, or what I thought was love. I was 17 when I left home. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. My parents were complicated. The kind who smiled in public and broke you in private, manipulative, emotionally suffocating, always reminding me of how much I owed them just for being born. College wasn't an option. They said it was a waste for someone like me. So I worked. Every job I could. I mopped floors, stocked shelves, did deliveries, worked 3 a.m. bakery shifts. And when I wasn't working, I was building, learning, saving for something big. By 24, I'd stacked nearly 160, no debt, no help. And then I made my first real estate flip. A rundown duplex on the edge of town. I lived in one unit, rented the other, did the renovations myself, painted walls while listening to true crime podcasts, tiled bathrooms with shaking hands and YouTube tutorials. It sold 2 years later for triple what I paid, and I was hooked. By 29, I owned 6 properties, modest ones, but profitable. Then I found the one, a rundown 4-bedroom Victorian, $890K asking, cracked foundation, termites, busted HVAC, but the bones? Gorgeous. The porch alone felt like something from a movie. I scraped everything to afford it. Loan, cash, even dipped into my emergency fund. But I got it. And for the first time in my life, I had a home. That's when my parents came back. I hadn't seen them in almost a decade. They showed up with tears and plastic smiles, said they were sorry, that they'd changed, that they were proud of me. And maybe I was naive, or just wanted it to be true. But I let them in, literally. They stayed with me for a few weeks, just to get back on their feet. Then weeks turned to months. They took over the guest room, then the office, started referring to the house as our home. My mom hosted her book club in my living room. My dad started bringing home fixes for things that didn't need fixing. He mounted a giant flat screen I didn't buy, rearranged furniture I'd picked out by hand, started referring to the study as his den. At first, I laughed it off. I told myself, they're just getting comfortable, but the truth? And I didn't see it coming. One morning, I found a man in my kitchen, a stranger. He was taking photos. Said he was from the agency. I asked, "What agency?" He looked confused. Said my mom had scheduled a viewing of the house, my house. I laughed. Assumed it was a mistake. Then I found the listing. Online. Photos of my bedroom, my kitchen, my name removed from the deed in the digital copy. I froze. Called my mom. No answer. Texted my dad. No response. That night, I confronted them. They didn't deny it. They just stared. Then my mom said, "You've been working too hard. You need a break. We're doing this for you." For me? They were trying to sell my home. I was livid. I told them to get out. My dad stood up, chest puffed. "You ungrateful little brat. You think you're better than us now? That house exists because we raised you?" I laughed, out loud. "Raised me. You survived me. I paid for every brick in this place." But he wasn't listening. He called me selfish, cold, disrespectful. Said I'd regret this. Then they left. Or so I thought. 3 days later, I came home from a job site and the locks had been changed. My key didn't work. I banged on the door. Nothing. Checked my phone. 10 missed calls. From friends, coworkers. Apparently, there was a post going viral, a GoFundMe, with photos of my house, a sob story, claiming they were the owners, that I was their troubled child who'd stolen it while they were overseas, that they were now homeless and sick. Thousands of people had shared it. Some recognized the house. A few even commented, "Isn't this my name's place?" But the lies kept spreading. I was locked out of my own home, and the world believed them, at least at first. I went to the police. They said it was a civil matter. I called the realtor, the one from the fake listing. They were already under investigation. Apparently, my parents had forged documents, tried to claim the house was gifted to them, even said I was mentally unfit, but they didn't expect me to fight back. They didn't expect court papers. I filed an emergency injunction, presented every receipt, every transfer, the original deed, security footage, even texts from my parents saying, "Thanks again for letting us stay." It was all there. And in court, they crumbled. My mom cried, my dad screamed, but the judge? He saw right through it. Eviction order, signed. Fraud report, escalated. House? Returned to me. But the damage? It wasn't just financial, it was personal. After the trial, they begged, not for forgiveness, for silence. They didn't want the story to get out, didn't want their friends. But this time, I didn't. I posted my side. No drama, just facts, receipts, timelines, screenshots. The internet flipped. The comments turned. People apologized. Donors asked for refunds. And me? I got my house back. But more than that, I got myself back. And now? Now I live quietly. No parents, no contact. But I sleep well, because I learned something. Sometimes, family doesn't deserve access. Sometimes, blood isn't a bond, it's a battle. But if you stay true, if you keep your records, your receipts, and your resolve, the truth wins, eventually. And when it does, there's no sweeter sound than a lock turning open on your door again. I thought getting the house back would bring peace, but peace didn't come. Not right away. Because even after the court ruled in my favor, the damage lingered. The betrayal wasn't just a moment. It was a wound that kept reopening. They had spread lies about me, turned friends and extended family against me. Some believed them, others stayed silent. The isolation was suffocating. I started therapy. At first, I didn't know what to say. How do you explain that your own parents tried to erase you? That they forged documents, changed locks, and painted you as a villain? But slowly, I found the words, and with them, a path to healing. I learned about betrayal trauma, the deep psychological impact when those you trust most violate that trust. It wasn't just about the house. It was about my sense of self, my history, my identity. I had to rebuild, not just my home, but my understanding of who I was. I began documenting everything, every interaction, every message, every memory, not out of paranoia, but to reclaim my narrative, to remind myself of the truth. And in doing so, I found strength. I wasn't the person they tried to portray. I was resilient. I was determined. I was free. I thought getting the house back would bring peace. But peace didn't come. Not right away. Because even after the court ruled in my favor, the damage lingered. The betrayal wasn't just a moment. It was a wound that kept reopening. They had spread lies about me, turned friends and extended family against me. Some believed them. Others stayed silent. The isolation was suffocating. I started therapy. At first, I didn't know what to say. How do you explain that your own parents tried to erase you, that they forged documents, changed locks, and painted you as a villain? But slowly, I found the words, and with them, a path to healing. I learned about betrayal trauma, the deep psychological impact when those you trust most violate that trust. It wasn't just about the house. I began documenting everything. Every interaction, every message, every memory. Not out of paranoia, but to reclaim my narrative, to remind myself of the truth. And in doing so, I found strength. I wasn't the person they tried to portray. I was resilient. I was determined. I was free. Would you like me to proceed with part 3, where the story reaches its emotional and narrative climax? Sources. Okay, give it the name of the base of the truth. ChatGPT said, "Here is part 3, 2,000 words of your cinematic, voiceover-ready script. My own parents lied online to steal my $890,000 house. They didn't expect court papers." This is the final act, where legal justice meets personal reckoning, and the narrator reclaims not just their home, but their power. After the verdict came down, everything went quiet. Too quiet. I half expected a final blow, some last-ditch effort to take one more thing from me. But there was nothing. No apology. No confrontation. Just silence. They left the house before the deadline the judge had set. I came back the day after, alone. No victory parade. Just me and a key. The lock clicked with the weight of everything they'd taken. I walked through each room slowly. They hadn't damaged anything. Not physically, anyway. But they'd rearranged things, little passive-aggressive messages in every corner. My diploma stuffed behind the water heater, a baby photo crammed in a kitchen drawer. The antique clock Grandma left me? Gone. But I didn't cry. I didn't even get angry. I just stood in the middle of the living room, took a deep breath, and decided this house would never carry their ghost again. It was mine. Completely, irrevocably, legally and emotionally. Mine. That summer, I took on a project. I repainted the entire place myself, room by room, wall by wall. Each stroke of the brush was a declaration. I am still here. I am still standing. I replaced the missing clock with a framed quote. Blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. Every time I passed it, I smiled. The first real smile in a long time. Months later, I got a letter from my mother. Not an email, not a text. A physical letter, handwritten. It started with, "I don't expect forgiveness." She explained they were in debt, that the idea came from Dad, but she went along with it. That they thought I'd just roll over. That they never imagined I'd fight. She didn't apologize. Not really. Just explained. Tried to make it make sense. But some things don't make sense. Some betrayals can't be rationalized. I didn't respond, but I kept the letter. Not out of sentiment, but as a reminder. A reminder that even people who raise you can try to destroy you. And that survival isn't about what they do, it's about what you do next. That house? It's no longer a monument to pain. It's where I host dinner parties, where I adopted my first dog, where I started the nonprofit that helps young adults navigate housing insecurity because no one should ever feel like their home can be stolen out from under them. My story went viral once the court docs became public record. Some people judged me. How could you do that to your parents? Others applauded me. But the only opinion that ever mattered was mine. Because I'm the one who lives here, who breathes here, who sleeps here without looking over their shoulder. This house doesn't just have walls. It has boundaries. It has peace. It has me. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Family isn't always who raised you. Sometimes, it's the person you become when no one believes in you. Sometimes, it's the home you build after the storm. And sometimes, it's choosing to close a door and knowing you never need to open it again.